If you've been down the magnesium rabbit hole like I have, you've probably heard of ReMag. It's one of the more unique supplements on the market, and if you're serious about getting your magnesium levels up, it's definitely worth a closer look. I stumbled upon it many years ago when I had problems with regular magnesium supplements, and I wanted to use this video to give you my full review of it. I want to talk about what I liked, what I disliked, and potential side effects that you should watch out for. At the end, I will also show you how to use it correctly and give you my honest take on whether you should buy it or not. Let's get into it. Okay, so what exactly is ReMag? It's a type of ionic magnesium supplement. Ionic means the magnesium is already in a charged, dissolved form and ready for absorption. Most regular magnesium supplements are bound to another compound, like citric acid in magnesium citrate or oxygen in magnesium oxide. And your body has to first break that bond during digestion. Only after the separation can the magnesium then be absorbed into your bloodstream, which isn't always efficient, especially if you have low stomach acid levels. Ionic supplements like ReMag are already dissolved in water, which is also why they're pretty much always liquid. That means your body doesn't need to break them down or separate them from other compounds. They are ready for immediate absorption. This allows them to bypass many of the digestive steps that can limit how much magnesium you actually absorb from normal supplements. There are quite a few ionic magnesium supplements on the market, but ReMag kind of stands out because it was one of the first, if not the first, and the magnesium molecules are picometer sized. That means the magnesium particles in ReMag are extremely small, about 1/1,000,000th of a meter. This is far below the size that your cells need for absorption. And the idea is that because they're so tiny, they can slip through cell membranes more easily and then get straight into your cells without relying on digestion, even on top of the ionic benefit they already have. Now, of course, I can't verify this. I don't know the exact size, but I can say from my own experience that you definitely notice the difference. Which then brings me to the benefits that I noticed when taking ReMag. First is potency. This is hands down the most potent magnesium supplement that I've ever tried. You can actually feel the effects, sometimes within seconds, especially if you're low in magnesium to begin with. One of the biggest problems with normal magnesium supplements is poor absorption. A lot of what you swallow just passes through your system, so even if the label says 400 milligrams of elemental magnesium, your body might only be getting a fraction of that. But with ReMag, because of its ionic form and the small particle size, the absorption is on a completely different level. You don't need to take massive doses, we will talk about that later in the video, and it goes in fast and starts working pretty quickly. For example, if I took too much, I also felt it right away, which I will also talk about in more detail in a second. The next benefit is that it's great for people with magnesium absorption issues, which should be obvious. A lot of people struggle to absorb magnesium correctly, and like I said before, this applies especially if you have gut issues or low stomach acid levels. Now you can kind of get around this by trying other versions of magnesium supplements, for example, chelated versions like magnesium glycinate, but that doesn't always work for everyone. ReMag definitely helps with that, and because of its small size and liquid form, it doesn't rely on your digestive system to break anything down. That means it can bypass many of the usual roadblocks and get in your bloodstream faster. So I would say for people who don't notice anything with normal supplements or have any of the problems that I just mentioned, ReMag would definitely be a good option. The last thing I liked about it was that it's lab tested. This might not sound like a big deal at first, but when you're taking something daily like I am, then you want to be sure that it's free of any contaminants and that the dose on the label is actually accurate. Back when I first bought it, they actually posted their latest lab tests on their website. I'm not sure if they still do that, but I just wanted to mention it because it's definitely something I appreciate. More brands need to do this. Okay, now on to the things that I didn't like about it. Obviously, no supplement is perfect. First, the taste. This is probably the most obvious downside. It tastes like salt water, even when you dilute it in a big glass of water. It's not a deal breaker, but I wanted to mention it. But then again, I took it because I knew it worked, not because it tasted good. If you're sensitive to taste, then just be prepared that you are going to drink some salt water. The next drawback is a personal one for me, and it's the form that it comes in. It's a liquid, which is fine in theory, but just not as convenient. If you're used to capsules where you just take them and move on, ReMag will definitely feel like an extra step. You need to measure it, mix it into something, and then drink it. It's not difficult, but it's just not as grab and go as most people are used to. So if you're in a rush or if you're traveling, then it's definitely less convenient. And the last thing I want to talk about, and I already hinted at this before, is that it can actually be too potent. I know this sounds strange, but when I first started taking it, I ramped up the dose quite a bit and too quickly, and then I started getting some weird side effects. Things like heart palpitations and a wired, overstimulated feeling. I later realized that this was due to throwing off my other electrolytes, for example, calcium and potassium. Once I also started taking those, these side effects went away. My point is that ReMag is definitely very powerful, and more isn't better. You really have to tune in to how your body reacts and find the right balance for you. So definitely start slow here and watch your dose. This then brings me to side effects, and we already talked about the biggest one, the heart palpitations. After a few days of taking ReMag, especially when I increased the dose too quickly, I started getting mild heart palpitations, like little fluttery beats. Nothing dangerous, but not pleasant. I already recorded a video on how to fix this, and it can happen with any magnesium supplement if you take too much. Basically what happens is that the electrolytes in your cell will become unbalanced by all the influx of too much magnesium. Usually it brings down calcium, but it could also be sodium or potassium. Since all of them are related to muscle function and nerve signaling, this led to the palpitations. So if you suffer from this, definitely watch my video on it. In my case, the solution was to balance the magnesium with the other electrolytes, especially calcium. You can take any normal calcium supplement, but you can also order the ReCal liquid calcium supplement, which is just like ReMag. I did that and I actually liked it a lot. The other side effect I rarely had, but I did feel, was kind of a magnesium spike. I don't know how else to describe it, but sometimes I could literally feel the magnesium hit my system, almost like a wave of calmness, but then followed by a little jittery edge. It was subtle but noticeable, and it really only happened in the beginning where it was still extremely magnesium depleted. So it's not necessarily the ReMag itself, but my body readjusting to getting something it was lacking for years. The last side effect I should mention is diarrhea, which is one of the most common side effects that people have when they take magnesium supplements. Now, this generally isn't a problem with ReMag, at least it never happened to me, because the absorption rate is so high and very little of it is left in the gut to draw water. So this is actually something cool that I didn't get this side effect. In theory, it should still be possible, but like I said before, it never happened to me. Great. Before I give you my verdict on it, let's quickly talk about how to take it correctly. Because it's a liquid supplement, you will have to measure it with a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon is around 150 milligram. So if you shoot for 300 to 450 milligram of magnesium per day, you will need 1 or 1.5 teaspoons total. But I would still divide this into several doses and stick with the 150 milligram per dose. So for example, I would take 1 dose in the morning, then for lunch, and then 1 in the evening for dinner, for example. If you are very sensitive, you can even use less and then see how your body reacts. Then you just mix it into a bit of water and drink it. Definitely don't take it undiluted. And I would usually drink it with my meals, even though theoretically you're supposed to drink it in between meals. Great. To wrap up this video, let me give you my honest verdict on the product. Would I recommend it? And the answer is yes, I would, especially for people who have trouble absorbing magnesium or who have tried other forms without success. It's the most potent magnesium supplement that I personally know of, and it will definitely raise your levels. Fixing your magnesium deficiency is one of the basics that you definitely need to get done to see any results in terms of better energy, calmness, and muscle problems. Yes, the taste isn't great, and it's a little more work than popping a pill, but the payoff is worth it in my opinion. Nowadays, I take several different forms of magnesium, so I don't get my whole daily intake just from ReMag, but it still has its place in my supplement stack, and I always recommend it to my students that have problems with increasing their levels with normal supplements. Because it has built kind of a cult following online, the price is definitely higher than other magnesium supplements. but you do get a quality product for that money. I will link a coupon code in the description that you can use to get it for a small discount if you're already thinking about buying. And that's pretty much it. Like I said before, ReMag is my go-to suggestion for anyone with magnesium absorption problems, and I've already recommended it to quite a few people. I hope you liked this video, and I will see you in the next one.